You ever have one of those days where you feel like your job isn't seeing your value? Like, no matter how hard you work, it's just not adding up? Yeah, I've been there. And if you're anything like me, you know how frustrating that can be. Before we dive in, I want to mention that this video is a bit of an experiment. I've been inspired by the old styles of Woody's Gamer Tag and Jay Slat's Weekly Slap, and I thought I'd give it a shot myself, so let's see if it sticks. Today, I want to talk about knowing your worth at work, sharing some stories from my own experiences, and hopefully give you some advice on how to handle those situations better. My very first job was at this small fast food chain. I was just a kid, 15, getting ready to turn 16, and I didn't know much about how things worked. I'd get dropped off by my parents ready to work only to be told they didn't have enough room for me or that they couldn't afford to pay me. That day, uh, it was some weird excuses. And the thing is, my parents would have already left by the time I tried to clock in. So I'd have no choice but to sit there and wait for them to come back and pick me up after they already left. One day, they tried to send me home again, and I just told them, you know what, I quit. I didn't give them a 2 weeks. I was just done. Looking back, I know I wasn't in the wrong for walking away, but at the time, I felt like I was failing somehow. It's weird because even though it was such a small job, it taught me a big lesson, knowing when enough is enough. And if you're not getting the respect you deserve, you need to just be ready to stand up for yourself. Don't be afraid to walk away if you're being treated poorly. It's not worth sticking around in a place where they don't see you as valuable. After that, I got a job at a local pizza shop. Now, this place was a little better, but there was still some craziness going on. One morning, I didn't know I was supposed to open, and I was still at home when my boss just drove up to my house wondering where I was. And keep in mind, I was still scheduled to close that night too, so it was like I was working all the time. What's crazy is it was like I was basically doing manager work, but I was only getting paid $7.25 an hour. And I mean, come on, that's borderline exploitation when you think about it. Here's the thing. If you're taking on responsibilities that go beyond your job description, it's totally fair to ask for more money, more recognition, more something. Don't let them pile on work without giving you what you deserve in return. Know your worth and don't be afraid to speak up. I didn't do that, and I still regret it till this day at times. Moving on. Um, then there was a time I worked at a big grocery store chain. You're probably thinking of the one right now, but I'll leave it unnamed. I remember it was a hot day, and I was a cart attendant. We were supposed to get water, but no one brought any out. I kept working, not realizing how bad it was, getting eventually to the point that I went blind. Like, everything went white. Like, I couldn't see anything. I found out later it was heat exhaustion. The worst part was they didn't tell me to take breaks in between until after it happened. It was a scary moment, but it taught me something important. Your health and safety should come first. If your job isn't looking out for you, you need to look out for yourself. Don't push yourself to the point of breaking just because no one else is paying attention. Speak up, take breaks, and make sure you're not putting yourself at risk. Um, After that, I decided to try my hand working in the auto shop. I got recommended by my automotive instructor, but when I got there, they found out how short my time in the class had been, and they didn't trust me with anything. I was basically just getting paid to sweep around the shop, basically, and I'd never got any chances to really prove myself. And they basically let me go in about a month and a half. But here's the thing. I didn't let it get to me. I found another auto shop about a month later where they actually trusted me to do real work. I was mixing body filler, priming a tailgate, and really getting my hands-on experience. It was temporary, and I knew it would be, but I actually liked it there. Sometimes you got to be in the right environment to thrive. If a place isn't giving you opportunities, You need, don't be afraid to move on and find somewhere that will. Trust is a huge part of feeling valued at work. And if you're not getting it, it might be time to look elsewhere. So yeah, I've had my fair share of jobs where I wasn't exactly treated the best, but each of them has taught me something about knowing my worth. That's something I want you to remember too. Don't settle for less than you deserve, and don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Whether it's walking away, asking for more, or just making sure you're safe, it all comes down to knowing your value and not letting anyone take advantage of you. I'm curious, have any of you had any experiences like this? Uh, how did you handle it? Would you mind dropping a comment below and maybe let's talk about it? If you've got any questions, feel free to ask. I'd love to keep the conversations going. Thanks for listening, and remember, know your worth. Again, this is kind of an experiment for me. I've been inspired by Woody's gamer tag and J Slat's weekly slat, so we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll catch you around in the next one.